What is going on, guys? Correct 1287 here, bringing you a video that's not going to focus on any specific game. Got different gameplays going on in the background, and haven't really uploaded much lately because I have been under the weather, and I'm actually still sick, but I've got enough meds coursing through my veins right now that I actually am not coughing like crazy. And I actually do have some energy, and I'm not passed out going to sleep. So, figured I would try to get this video out, as it's something that's been a relatively hot topic of late since the release of Assassin's Creed Unity. And Far Cry 4 is going to be coming out soon, and I plan to get the game and enjoy it, hopefully. I've heard some good things about the PC version so far. So let's just hope that the rest of what I hear and the game itself ends up being a good PC game. But this is going to be talking about Assassin's Creed Unity's launch and how they handled things like embargoes and whatnot. So if you guys are sick and tired of hearing about this, I was trying to get this out a little earlier, but again, I've been sick. So if you're just tired of hearing about it, then go ahead and turn this off. But if it's something that's new, then you might be interested in hearing about this, because it's something that affects the video game industry in a very large scale, not just Ubisoft or the Assassin's Creed series. So Ubisoft has been in some very hot water lately with PR statements that are outright lies, among other things. And I'm going to have links to all sorts of stuff that I'm talking about in the video description down below, so check those out if you want sources and references to what I'm talking about. But most recently they released Assassin's Creed Unity, and it's got a lot of scary aspects to its release. It's come out, there's a lot of aspects to it that have me pretty much scared. Not in the sense of playing a typical horror game, but it just scares me in what it could do to the video game industry. So, video game reviews, obviously they exist to help potential customers make a decision as to whether or not to purchase the game or not. Whenever a new game comes out, I try to get you guys some gameplay of it, showing off like the first 30 minutes and whatnot, because that's when most people are making their decisions. Typical gamers, you want to get a game when it launches, especially for pre-order things. A lot of games these days, they have pre-order bonuses, and you want to decide whether you should get the game while you're still able to get that pre-order bonus. Now, through the use of embargoes, publishers they can ensure that reviewers take time with their review. If they set the review date, the embargo date, before the launch of the game, but fairly close to the launch of the game, then even those small guys that it might take them a little longer to get review copies, they still have a chance. And people are, the big guys that can get their review code well in advance, they're not going to just cream them by getting a review out there way before they could possibly even do it. And if stuff like that happens, then people are going to rush their review, they're going to rush through the game, they're going to rush through the review just so that they can get it out onto the internet as fast as possible. So embargoes can actually be good. The problem is when publishers approach the embargo the way in which Ubisoft has done with Assassin's Creed Unity, and that meant that in order to receive an early review copy of Unity, the reviewers had to abide by an embargo that prevented them from releasing the review no earlier than 12 hours after the game's release. And while we cannot with 100% certainty say that this was done to prevent people from canceling their pre-orders, which the game did get pretty mediocre reviews, it's pretty much a safe bet that's why they did it. There's really only one benefit you gain from having reviews come out after a release, and that is to prevent low scores from causing people to cancel their pre-orders or to never make pre-orders in the first place. So, in addition to this shady embargo method, Those review copies that were given to the reviewers did not include the pricing for the microtransactions in the game. You can see the little screen grab of a Twitter conversation with Stephen Totillo. He's a reviewer in the gaming industry. And so reviewers could not see that the in-game currency, the Helix credits, could be purchased with real money. They could see that, but to the extent of their cost was not made visible to the reviewers. The microtransactions, they're no new thing to this industry. It's even in, full-blown $60 purchases. It's actually very common to see that now. The problem in Unity's case is simply the cost, the scale of these air quote micro transactions. Seeing something like a 99-cent purchase or $1.99 for interesting aesthetic gear, like that's par for the course. Even something like a $4.99 deal for something, that's not outrageous to see in already $60 purchased games. But Unity's microtransactions had gone crazy. Players could purchase 20,000 Helix credits for $99.99, $100 of microtransactions in a game you've already paid $60 for. I mean, that's pretty ridiculous. $99 purchases, even for free-to-play games, are pretty crazy. Those are for like the Madden players that are just super duper addicted. But seeing it in a game that you've already paid $60 for, those are no longer microtransactions. These are macro transactions, and it's just kind of getting a little out of control. So you might be thinking that these purchase of Helix credits, they're purely optional, and that people can just pay the $59.99 for the base game and never spend any additional money on the Helix credit pack, which, yeah, that's technically true. The problem with this is that game developers are going to be pressured, and not going to be, but already have been, pressured by their publishers to design their games in such a way that playing them without paying for this in-game currency can be painful. The way, the rate at which you attain them, how much you get for doing the missions that you find on and can loot in corpses, that you get for side missions and things like that, can all be reduced so that getting them by playing the game normally can be very painful, and that pressures the players to want to just outright pay for them. So, in the case of Unity, if the option to purchase the Helix credits was never an option and had never even been contemplating from the get-go, would the rate at which the player procured these Helix credits been different? We'll probably never know. It'd be financial suicide for Ubisoft to let this kind of stuff come out, because obviously people would be in outrage if they know that things were made purposely difficult to get if not paid for. So, and this is nothing new, things come out all the time of unethical, less than ethical means for companies to maximize profits, but this is definitely one that we can easily prevent by voting for our wallets. So, hopefully Ubisoft handles the Far Cry 4 release and reviews a little better. They have let reviews come out well in advance. Some places still haven't received their review copy. A lot of the PC places have not received their review copy because they didn't go to the console review kind of event that they held. So that's that's not too good for us PC gamers. But my fingers are crossed that the game is made in good, and that it's not made intentionally more difficult in order to try to milk us of more money for microtransactions. From what I can tell, there's no microtransactions in Far Cry 4. So, and the same applies to The Division and Rainbow Six Siege. especially The Division, because it is, you know, going to be a kind of RPG-ish MMO kind of thing, which just screams microtransactions and things like that. Rainbow Six Siege is probably in a safe boat, seeing as how Far Cry 4 has been in a safe boat. But yeah, we just stuff like this just needs to stop getting out of control. Full $60 games needs to not have these $99.99 macro transactions and shady embargo deals. Should not happen. These guys need to have the consumer's best interests in mind, and these reviewers they need to always remember that. Whatever. That's pretty much all the talking that I have in me. I already had one cough attack during this little video, so yeah, hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope I get better at some point, and hope you guys did enjoy the gameplay. Have a good one. Ta-ta.